Tonight we're going to be taking a look at Hologram Iron Man from the Marvel Legends series. This is part of the Ursa Major Build-A-Figure. We see very quickly he comes with a pair of extra hands in fists. He comes with the head for Ursa Major and some blaster effects for his hands. We see some really cool artwork here on the side. Some more of that same really cool artwork of Hologram Iron Man, and the bio there in more than one language. All right, let's open them up and take a look. All right, so we've got Hologram Iron Man on the line. Let's take a close look at the figure's detail before we look at the accessories and do a lineup with some other cool figs. So starting at the top, we've got some really nice sculpting on the translucent blue plastic. I'll rotate him a bit. Some parts of the translucent armor are a little bit shiny, whereas other parts seem to be like a flat plastic, more of a matte, translucent kind of plastic. Cool stuff. I like how you can kind of see through into how the pins are working. You get another look at that as we get down by the wrist and the hand. See how the peg of the pin from the wrist inserts into the forearm. Joint, the pegs and the joints here at the hip. So there are pins in the knees and pins in the elbows. So for a while I thought these might be pinless knees, but I was mistaken. We've got the blaster effects or booster effects, depending on how you want to use them, inserted in the hands. And the detailing goes all the way down to the feet. Pretty cool. Not a ton of molding. Detailing here at the bottom of the legs. But there is some, it's just not accentuated by the white highlight. All right. Look over at the head sculpt for Ursa Major. This is a really detailed head sculpt. Looks really nice. The teeth are somewhat soft. They're not extremely hard plastic, and they're definitely not very sharp, so that's cool for safety. A look at the slot for the peg. He comes with some hologram fists. And just a quick look at how the blaster effects might work if he were flying, which I don't think this hologram is going to do any flying, but I guess he could do this kind of like hovering effect. And why don't I think this Iron Man is going to do any flying? Let's look at articulation. In terms of the head, he can go all the way up to that and all the way down to that. So if he were doing that hovering effect, he could get this flight action going on and give you that view. Get this going on. Boom. So that's some really great range of motion in the head. And that seems to be about where the range of motion praises are going to end on this figure. He has what I guess could be considered a ball peg joint at the upper diaphragm. You get a click back to literally about there, and you get a click forward to there. Full range with the head, back, full range with the head. All right, so that's not a lot in terms of a crunch. There is no waist swivel or additional crunch at the hips, and I'll show you why in a moment, but at the hips, you're gonna get out that far, about that far. Let's call that the letter A. The shoulders, you're gonna get up, I wanna call that like about 45 degrees out. There is rotation at the bicep, you got the rotation at the shoulders, you got the double jointed elbow. That is not going to make it much past 45 degrees because of the armor. We have rotation and upper swivel at the thigh. You have the double peg or double hinge joint at the knees. But again, the armor is going to create some encumbrance there. Not a complaint, just an observation. A complaint I do have, though, is what's going on with almost no movement up or down on the feet. What is up with that? A cool aesthetic thing is that we get to see that peg really clearly in this translucent plastic. That is really chill. You know, seeing the mechanics of that in the thigh, the peg inserted into the thigh, and the mechanics up above it. That's kind of cool, you know? But in terms of articulation, this guy really doesn't move around much. Why isn't he able to bring the legs out more for a split? Because of this armor piece here, as it comes in, it just doesn't allow for further split at all. You know, if it had more of a little bit of a split, and if you could rotate this out, you might be able to get some dynamic action poses in play, but not really, not so much with this guy. With this guy, it's going to be pretty much all straightforward stuff. At the shoulders, you've got the same problem because of this really nice detail and this ornate armor work, which I think is pretty cool, and it is somewhat pliable. Somewhat. As you bring the arm up, it immediately snags onto the armor, and it does not allow the arms to come up at all. So there's that. You could do this bizarre kind of like, where's Tony? Where's Tony Stark? Kind of like frantic pose, I guess. But you're not going to get a lot of dynamic action poses with this guy. I guess that's okay because he is a hologram, and he's going to be around, I guess, for strategic planning and providing intel. You know, I'm going to imagine a hologram is not going to be out fighting battles, so I guess it makes sense that he doesn't have much articulation. But all right, aesthetically though, he looks great. I can totally see him beside some Tony Stark figures and some other Iron Man figures, War Machine, and looking really, really cool as his hologram self. For today's lineup, I'm going to bring out the AI Tony Stark, just because it seems appropriate. And as we can see, AI Tony Stark is coming in just a tad taller. If I could get him to stand. Bingo. Actually, shoulder to shoulder, hologram Tony Stark seems to have it. But I think AI Tony Stark's hair puts him over the top for sure. So yeah, nice stuff. So the Iron Man Mark 85 on the line there. One of my favorite figs across lines. Cool stuff. All right, and I'll bring out my Mafex 121 Iron Spider. Get him hanging out there. Cool stuff. And now I'll bring out the Iron Patriot. He's an awesome fig. And more of an oversized model from Tony Stark's Industries. And a really awesome fig himself. I'll bring out a couple more. I'm going to bring out another one of my very favorite figs. I have a lot of very favorite figs. And that's okay. I'm very thankful for that. Not a bad problem to have. I'll bring out my amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech War Machine. We'll pair him up back here with the Iron Patriot. This is another awesome figure from Tony Stark's Industries. And just to round things out tonight, I'll bring out a totally awesome Thanos figure, the Nendroid Thanos. And I believe it is Nendroid number 1247. Nendroid. And he is a totally awesome Thanos who is not in the mood for any nonsense. There we go. All right. Overall, wrapping up, looking at Hologram, Tony Stark, I kind of put action figures into two categories. The, damn, I wish I didn't get this figure. How am I going to get him to the garbage without feeling terrible about it category. That's one category. And the other category is, you know what? It's a really cool fig. I'm glad I got him for one reason or another. Hologram Iron Man falls into, I'm glad I got him for one reason or another. He looks cool in terms of the translucent blue. I like the art and aesthetic appeal of that. The limited articulation he does have and the color schemes are complementary, so I like that also. The translucent fists are also a nice touch, so I can have some options there. And I like him just because of the way he complements being in a gallery of Stark Industries technology. You know, he fits in really well and looks really cool there. So definitely a figure that I'm glad I have and that I will not be sneaking into the garbage can at any point. All right, so as always, everybody, I have fun sharing the experience of collecting action figures and other toys as an adult. I hope you have fun coming out to share the experience. Until next time, everybody, take care.